Well, hello there. Welcome to Eric Wood Podcast. I've been getting a lot of emails and texts. People are asking, "Hey, what happened to a Paranormal Highway?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? What Paranormal Highway? Yeah, you changed it from Gypsy Road. What's Gypsy Road?" I think what's going on is all you people are experiencing the Mandela effect. There's never was a Paranormal Highway. Never was a Gypsy Road. There's only me, Eric Wood Podcast. So I'm thinking everybody's either misremembering or everybody received a download. All right. With this name change, I thought the best person to be my first guest with this name change is the man himself, Danny Staton. I'm going to interview him on from the beginning of his sightings. You guys all know Danny had, he has videos of Bigfoot noises, UFOs, orbs. Danny's been involved in the unknown community forever. So Danny has a lot of knowledge of the research he's done. And since is always in a lot of channels, he's heard stories. He's heard everything from almost everybody. So Danny's like a Wikipedia of other YouTube channels that he listened, he heard, and his own experience. So I want to wrap that all together and and just have fun and go with it. So, and all of you people who remembers Paranormal Highway or Gypsy Road, I think you received a download. I think you is having a Mandela effect because I've always been Eric Wood Podcast. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So stop sending emails and texts. You probably saw a commercial or something and saw a face of mine. I don't know, but I always been Eric Wood Podcast. I just don't get it. But I'll see you guys after this very short intro, and we'll have Danny Staton on. Danny!
Greetings from South Carolina, Erie, South Carolina, where all kind of weird stuff happens.
That's a good part to start with, because growing up on the West Coast, I always put the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch with the West Coast. I don't know why, maybe because I grew up there or not. And there's so many states that have sightings and stuff, and I've never put like South Carolina in that group. And it's awesome that you down there have done research. You have heard things yourself of the Sasquatch and Bigfoot and UFOs and anything of the unknown. But I want to start from the beginning, Danny. Were you just like always into it, or did you have something that happened to you that made you want to look into the phenomenon yourself?
Well, that's a deep dive right there, Mr. Wood. That is a deep dive.
It is a deep dive. This is why we're here.
My mother,
deep with Danny.
It goes back to my childhood when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. I went with my mother, and she would go on a lot of paranormal investigations, ghost hunts. We'd go to houses and look for apparitions or shadow people.
So your mom was an investigator.
Well, she was a photographer who had an interest in the paranormal. She wanted to be the photographer who caught ghosts on film. She wanted to take a picture of a ghost. That was a hobby of hers, being a photographer. She was a professional photographer. She took pictures of movie stars and wrestlers and stuff like that for magazines. In the spare time and in her time off, we'd be at midnight in the cemetery with a camera, trying to catch a haunted specter, supposed that haunts the cemetery of Williamston. Or we would be in a haunted house trying to catch a picture of the ghost that comes down the stairs of the old mortuary in town. We were always on a ghost hunt. But to me, Bigfoot was a Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Dracula, Bigfoot, a movie monster. It wasn't real. I watched Bigfoot on TV. I watched Bigfoot and Wild Boy. You know, Bigfoot was not real to me till that one day when I was 11 years old in the July 4th week of 1976, when I was walking through the woods with a camera, taking pictures of squirrels and deers and rabbits because I was wanting to be a nature photographer at the time. And as I'm walking through the woods on a nature expedition by myself like a dummy at 11 years old, just me and my camera, and I'm taking pictures, I hear what I can only be considered a low guttural grunt, like coming from the hill above me. And naturally, I was thinking, gee, that sounds like a bear. Maybe I'm going to get a real good picture now. And as I looked up on the hill, I thought I saw what was a big bear for about 2 seconds. And then I was just froze looking up at the hill, because up on this hill, about 65, 70 yards, maybe 50 at the closest, on an inslanted hill above me was a monster. Dude, I'm talking a giant, hairy, man-like, I don't care what anybody says, freaking monster. To an 11-year-old kid, what I saw was terrifying beyond comprehension. I was in the woods 50, 60 yards away from a monster. I was just lucky that I was down in a creek bed, and as the hill starts up between me and where the creature was what's called brambles or thorns or thickets. They're these great big old long briars with them little yellow flowers on them. I don't know what the technical name for them is, but they will. That's what Burr Rabbit went in that fairy tale where old Fox couldn't get him. And you don't go through the thickets; they will hurt you. The briars in there are 3 inches long, as sharp as needles. So that was between me and it. And I don't think, even as tough and big and monstrous as it is, I don't even think it wanted to mess with the brambles, you know. But
was there anybody with you, Danny? Were
no,
you by
I was alone. I'm totally alone, man. And I'm a dumbass, you know, because I don't think it saw me, because I was down in the hole. And I'm looking up at it. And for some reason, I said, I won't be me if I don't grab a picture. Nobody will believe me, man. So I reached up and I snapped that picture. And when I did, the flash went off. And it just looked straight down at me with these big, dark brown looking eyes. And I never will forget it. I think that's the point where I peed. And it went, and then it started coming down the hill. But it stopped because it hit the brambles. And the minute it stopped, I took a hard right and ran as fast as I could. And as I was running through the woods, I could hear it coming through the woods, paralleling, like I'm running down the creek bed. It's running on, it's on the top of the hill above me. But the hill above me come out into a road. And the creek bed went on down around the curb into another road. I come out on the other road, like 70 yards from where the other road, where the creek bed would come out, the top of the creek bed would come out that he was on. So I'd moved ahead. And as I come out and look back over my shoulder, about 70, 80 yards away, there was this huge tree go down in a loud roar as I ran up the street as fast as I freaking could and ran away in terror. But after that, then I started checking out the Bigfoot stuff and became more a believer in Bigfoot and cryptids and real monsters existing. But up until that point, I didn't consider Bigfoot a real monster.
Well, why are we dumb when we're young kids? I mean, seriously, Dan, why are we dumb? Like your experience, my experience, like we see something, we go after it. You think it's a bear. The smart thing for you to do technically is to go back. You never want to confront a bear, but you wanted that picture. So in a lot of ways, we're stupid, aren't we?
And I had that picture. I had that picture for 40 years, and I would show it to everybody, and they'd laugh at me because it was a blob squatch because of a crappy camera. You can see something, but he couldn't tell what it was as bad as some of these pictures you see on YouTube these days, where you
Well,
can
it
just see
was
this black.
1976.
Yeah, it was a C110 Flipmatic
I
camera.
mean,
It's like the worst
cameras. I
camera in the
mean,
world. And but I showed it to everybody, and unfortunately, I had a bad house fire in 2011, and a lot of my stuff burned up in that picture, and a lot of my photos burned up with it.
you didn't even have
I'm
the
only lucky.
opportunity to upload it to the cloud.
I'm only lucky that I have copies of a lot of pictures from the family stuff and wrestlers and movie stars and stuff. Is because then my mom would get my pictures developed, or the stuff we had. She would always make 2 copies, and she kept a copy of everything. And when she passed away, I inherited all her pictures, and I'm still going through them, hoping there's another copy of that picture in there somewhere. But I've got so many pictures to go through. You have no idea.
I'm
Millions.
curious. What
My
I'm
sister
curious
has
is,
millions too.
what I'm curious is, before you even had the Bigfoot encounter, you were going up with your mom, doing investigations. She knows what she's doing, taking pictures. I mean, before the Bigfoot thing, did you and your mom ever had something that like just tripped you out totally, like made you a believer more in the paranormal with your
Definitely believed in ghosts. It was
mom on
when I was
investigation?
7 years old when we saw orbs. I was 9 years old when we saw a white shadowy apparition on a porch. But to a kid, it's always bigger than it actually was. It's all exciting when you're there and you're seeing what you think's a ghost. But then the pictures comes back and it looks like somebody smoked a cigarette and blew a puff of smoke up. It's kind of hard to brag about it. But it was fun
Oh,
at the
I
time.
know.
I never will forget most people are like trick or treating and having all these normal lives, and me and my mama and my little brother and sister were in a cemetery on Halloween night looking for ghosts.
That is awesome. No, it's just kind of funny because you and I had our first Bigfoot experience at the age of 11. Both of us,
At the
we're
age
both
of 11.
11. And it is,
The
you
only
think
thing you
differently.
got over me is at least you had people with you. I was alone.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
did.
And
Y'all chased Bigfoot. Bigfoot chased me.
and the thing is, like I said, we were able to talk about it at the moment. We're all happy and like, oh my God, our parents, our family was right. You were by yourself. So I mean, but thing is, you did have a mom who did investigate the paranormal. So did you
Yeah.
tell her? Did she understand what you saw?
Yeah, I ran straight in and told my mom, and she looked at me right in my eyes and said, "You've been smoking your brother's shit." And then she called her dad, my grandpa. My grandpa come down there, and I told him about it. And he said, "Yeah, I've heard stories like that a lot, before." He's chief of police. He's investigated stuff. So he went to the house and got some guns. He said, "Let's go have a look." And we went back down there armed to the max. And we found big footprints and we found broke trees, but we didn't see nothing.
See, that's what I wonder because even before our incident, all of us, we all believed in everything. We did believe in the paranormal. We didn't have to wait to see it happens. So technically our minds were open to it. I wonder because you went with your mom on these that your mind was open and we don't know for sure, but the Sasquatch kind of knows you're open minded in a way because of the experience you had in the past. I mean, this is just, theories. I don't know for sure, but I wonder because you did believe in some of the stuff before the Bigfoot. I mean, the paranormal, and he knows you're open minded to see him
Well,
because if he wanted to hurt you, he would have.
I think I was open to ghosts and spirits and hauntings, but I don't think I was open to anything else. I don't think I was
No,
open
but
to the
but you're more
Mothman.
open than
I
most
don't think I
people.
was
But you're
open to
more open than
Bigfoot
most
till I
people.
saw
Most
one.
people are not open at all.
And once I saw Bigfoot, once I saw that
And look at
creature,
JoJo. Look. See what she wrote. Seems many encounters started when people were kids because I think they know. I don't know what it is. I think these creatures or whatever they know you're young and you're not really a threat. So maybe it's easier for you to see them. I mean, I don't know. I'm just I don't know because we did have some adults with us on the Bigfoot stuff, and you didn't have no adults. You were just by yourself.
But I did have a grandfather go with me, and we found footprints and stuff. So I did till he died. I had a witness who could verify some of my story, of the trace evidence or whatever.
What does your grandpa think of it when you told him?
Well, he was a police officer who had investigated accounts of that. He even related to me the first time he had investigated something like that took place in 1953 in Williamston, South Carolina. And this is actually a documented case on police records that in 1953, a elderly lady named Lena Hogg reported that she had baked apple pies and placed them on the windowsill inside her screen porch to cool, and that a large, gigantic ape, gorilla-type creature had come out of the woods, tore her porch down, and run off with her hot pies. And that's an actual documented case. And ironically, my grandma went to church with the lady, Lena Hogg, and after I said I saw something, they took me to church to talk to Lena Hogg, and I actually talked to the old lady, and she and her talked about this stuff together in the day back in 1977 before she passed away.
You went to a church to tell them what you saw?
Well, yeah.
Wow.
But the church, you gotta understand, I wasn't the only one from the church who had said they saw stuff, and they had invited me up there because I had said I saw stuff, and I was just coming to talk to them because other people there had saw hairy creatures and whatever. And that's how I got to meet Miss Lena Hogg and Mr. Ford and all the people people who had said they had encounters in my area. But I didn't go in search.
Real quick, today is Melissa Nicole's birthday. She's 39 years old today. So, Melissa, I'm going to tell you happy birthday, and remember you're 39, because when you hit a whole two number digit, you're wondering what happened to your life. So enjoy your 39 before you change to another double digit. So, and I never thought about going to a church, right? Because I don't know. I always thought, church is more religion, but you went to them. I mean, and we all know when you go to a church,
they heard about what happened and invited me.
They heard.
Because other people in the church had said they had saw stuff, and when they heard that I'd seen something too, well, they said, "Come up and talk to these people because they all saw something too." And that's how I got to meet the other witnesses in the area. Because they went to church saying they saw demons and stuff. And the preacher was like, "Nah, man, it's an animal." And it was a church debate at the time.
Okay, so let's go here now. So you went with your grandma. I mean, I'm saying your mom on paranormal investigations. Then you had your nice encounter at 11, and it was verified. Your grandpa saw the footprints. I mean, grandpa saw it all. Like, so did you have any more things, like maybe not as dramatic as that made you really also, again, like, what's going on with any kind of unknown out there? UFOs, doesn't matter. Like, did you have another one?
I've got thousands. That's the problem. But in the order, the next thing that would be paranormal or weird that I encountered was my mom took a job working for Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they were occult investigators.
Are you serious?
She was doing a photo shoot for them in New York, and because they were doing wrestling at Madison Square Garden, my mom took me because I wanted to see the wrestling. So we went on this haunted house investigating with the Warrens, and we did some publicity shots for them. And then I got to go see Jimmy Snuka fight in Madison Square Garden, and that was a bigger thing to me than any ghost story that ever happened.
But let's go
I was only there. I was only on that trip because I was being took to wrestling and acting as her camera assistant, changing her film and keeping her camera box in order on the photo shoot. That way, she didn't have to pay the extra money for an assistant. She got to pimp me for the work, and all I got out of it was a 3-hour trip to wrestling. But I had to work all weekend being a camera assistant to get to go to wrestling.
But
it was worth it. Have you ever been to Madison Square Garden to wrestling?
Ed and Lorraine for a second. When you went on
it's worth it. I've been to Madison Square Garden 4 times, and that was the first time I got to go.
Of course, I've never been there, but let's go back for a second. And when you were doing an investigation with Ed and Lorraine, I mean, first of all, did
I
you
didn't do an
know
investigation
Ed and
with
Lorraine
them.
were?
I was there when they were talking about ghosts and having a photo
Oh,
shoot.
they were talking about it. So what was
Yeah,
your
they were doing an
impression about
interview.
them?
They were doing an interview for some cable TV or some public TV access thing they done, and they were wanting to publicize it. So they hired my mama to shoot some publicity photos for some magazine that was going to talk about their show. And we had to go there for 2 days and shoot pictures with them. But we did actually go on an investigation so we could see them in action, where they went around and talked to spirits and all that stuff. But like I said, I was very young at the time, and I was doing my work, keeping the camera straight and changing films. But I didn't really care about that because I was going to see wrestling, man. You know, it wasn't no big thing to me. I was hurry the fuck up with this. I was like, hurry the fuck up with this photo shoot so I can go see wrestling. You know.
I know, dude. I understand. You know, for me, you know, it was going to concerts and stuff. That was my events. You know, those were
I love
like you said, going to wrestling was events.
We could talk for
And I had
hours
a lot
about
of friends.
concerts.
Well, I had a lot of friends from the '80s who were in love with wrestling, with Macho Savage. You know, Hulk Hogan during the days when the names were really you know, after the Rocky movie with Hulk Hogan boxed Rocky in Rocky 3, you know, wrestling even took off even bigger with all these characters. You know, characters really was exposed after the Rocky 3 movie. So
I think the word you're looking for is gimmicks.
Those were events.
Wrestling turned into gimmicks in the 80s.
Yeah, it's you know.
We had trash men and undertakers and big red monsters. And
yeah, everything became a stage show.
Exactly. I like the older days of wrestling when it was more of considered even though we kind of knew it was a work, we didn't let it out that we knew, you know. On some level it was perceived as actual combat.
So with all those experience that you have in the paranormal and the Sasquatch, what about the skies, the UFO skies?
I've seen now, once again, I've seen stuff in the sky my whole life. There's been 1,000 times I've looked up and saw a weird light in the sky or something. Shoot, I made videos 50 times and put them up on YouTube. Look at this weird light. Look at this weird thing. Yeah. Or this thing's making a weird noise. Or I think this is a drone watching me. But once again, a UFO to me is anything I don't know what it is in the sky. So everything's a UFO unless I see wings and a propeller. And you got these guys that come on YouTube and they're showing all these Starlink satellites flying over, and they talk about, oh, look at that, that's a UFO right there. And I don't want to be one of them guys. I'll tell you straight up, I wouldn't know a UFO flew over unless it was shaped like a saucer. But and then I would be skeptical with all the drones and weird stuff they got these days. It's very hard to call something a UFO these days. Even when the military comes out with a Tic Tac thing, 90% of people think it's a Chinese drone, you know, or some kind of technology we have.
Yeah.
It's just hard to prove UFO.
Well,
but I was
talking to my friend.
I do believe UFOs are real, and I do believe something crashed in Roswell. I do believe we reversed technology.
I was talking to my friend Chris, who is the father of my nephew, of course. He works for SpaceX. And, you know, like I was telling people in my video yesterday that you know, I was asking him about, you know, come on, is there any secrets about they have? But he did tell me that him and their groups, they always laugh at people because he said, like he's saying exactly what you're saying, that a lot of these people who are seeing these things, thinking they're UFOs, it's their satellites. And he said he knows when they launch it because he works for them. So he says when he sees these videos, he sees when they film it, he goes, oh, nope, that's a satellite. That's a satellite. So it's kind of cool that I know somebody now that I could cross-reference, you know, it's a satellite. But all sightings people are having, you're right, they are satellites. But for whatever reason, they don't want to believe that. And there's nothing wrong with it, right? There's nothing wrong if it's a satellite or not. I mean, you know.
My grandpa had a real interesting life. one day we'll have to do a show about my grandpa when I can find those books with all these stuff in it and whatever. But, you know, he was in law enforcement his whole life. When he was 17, 18 years old as a cadet police officer, he went to New York and Chicago and actually worked with Elliot Ness on the fugitive task force, hunting down people like Dillinger and stuff. That was, you know, Bonnie and Clyde and stuff like that. He was a big name with the federal fugitive task force
Elliot
in
Ness,
the
yeah.
in the 30s. And after that, the war started, and then he joined the military. Because of his police background, he got put in military intelligence. He actually worked on Project Paperclip and helped reassign get the technology from Germany over here. Even though he didn't deal with the scientists, he worked with shipping of stuff like the spy planes and the jets and jet engines and stuff, that rockets and stuff they captured from the Nazis. He helped ship it over here. And I never will forget something he told me. He said, he was talking to me one day and he said, you have no idea what level of technology these Nazis had. He said, we were shipping stuff back to the States and we had no idea what none of it was. It was so far beyond us. We knew it was supposed to fly, but we didn't know how it flew. And he told me that.
No, I believe that. I mean, they had advanced coding systems.
After the war, after he got out the Army, he came back to South Carolina and was the chief of police of the hometown I'm from for 50 years after that.
Wow. I mean, that's
after the war. He was a really elderly old man when he retired from being a police chief.
Well, you're completely right. A lot of the early technology stuff came from after the war, of the stuff they were developing. They were developing things faster than we were. I mean, the way we learn is we had to take it from them, steal it from them, and learn how they made it and use it. So that is crazy. So everything you have heard of people what are your real feelings on that? Do you believe that a UFO have crashed? We got technology apart from it, or
absolutely, no doubt something crashed. I have no doubt that something crashed in Roswell in 1947. I have no doubt it probably wasn't from this planet. And I have no doubt that technology from that crash is responsible for a lot of things we have today, like fiber optics. That much I'm sure of. But where it came from and what they look like and all that, 50-50.
Yeah. Well,
but that much of it, I've heard that from people in my family who are retired military. My grandpa didn't just get out the military after the war. He was in the military to 1950 before he came back and took a job as a police officer. He was in military intelligence 5 years after the war ended, tying up all the loose ends of shipping stuff from Germany to the United States. 3 years after the war, we were still pulling stuff out of tunnels in Germany and shipping it back over here. And we didn't know what it was. Research was ongoing at that time. I know for a fact. I've been told by my relatives who were there.
See, both of us have people in the military. Of course, I was in the military. We both have connections enough where I'm a believer too. They're just, we know the right people, and they're not gonna bullshit us. I mean, we're good friends. And of course, we all know that I believe that Roswell ship is part of the Mary Island ships. I believe one of the 6.
I pointed this out before.
There was one before that. And I believe they're all connected. I really do. I really believe they're all from the same planet, this whatever there are. And I know people will say, well, Eric, the ships look different. Well, first of all, you don't know that. Second of all, we have different shapes of ships. Who says that whoever comes here, they probably have different ships shape for different reasons, research or whatever. So Yes, they can all be connected. I feel that they are connected because
Well, here's the
you
one
can't.
thing there,
I
Eric.
don't know. The chances of two.
The one thing there is, in the Mary Island incident and Roswell have in common is military bases in the area were the two
Yes,
just happened to
yes,
be the only places in the United States were the two military bases close to these things testing the new
yep,
Tesla microwave radar system. What are the
yep.
chances
That
of
is
there being two incidents
fact.
at the only two places they're testing a weird
That is
radar?
fact.
And that's facts, There's two places on Earth we're testing this radar. And ironically, that's the two places the spaceships are supposed to be having some problems.
Yep.
Just strange coincidence.
See, you and I we're open minded to the possibility of being connected and certain reasons why. I don't know why some people can't. I don't know why some people don't want these things connected. And I think if you could connect them, it makes it easier to do research. I just don't understand why people don't want to connect these. Like you said, the satellites, the two military bases, and these incidents happen 2 weeks within. I mean, what are the chances
Actually,
those are two different planets?
somewhere in that time frame, there's a third incident, but I'm not sure I don't remember the details. I'd have to look in a
I,
book.
I know what you're saying. I mean, I know there was another story of them seeing 9 UFOs
It's in,
over Mount Rainier, but nothing like crashing. But there is
it's in
another
this
crash
book.
story.
This is a book called the Hynek Report, and this is Hynek's investigations into every UFO thing he investigated. And this is the book he wrote after he was out of the military. So it's all what he really thought and really believes in aliens and where he thought they were from. And it's got a lot of pictures of the actual ships and stuff that they were investigating at the time. This is one of the best books I've ever read. It's just I can't remember every little detail out of it.
Oh, how can you? I mean, there's
But
so
there is
much. I mean,
another report that happened around the same as Roswell report did.
so the place where you live, I've seen some of your videos, and I remember seeing some of your videos that you hear some weird sounds out there and stuff. Like where you live in South Carolina, is your house like in the mountains, near the mountains?
No, but I live right on the edge of the forest. Like I live in a neighborhood,
Okay,
and 70 yards from me is where the woods begin. And on the other side of that, there's just more woods and more woods and more woods. You might cross a small road, but then there's more woods after that. It's just I live on the edge of the forest.
and how often do you like yourself go out in those woods?
I take my dog for a walk
Do your
every
own
day, and we ride down trails and stuff. I just don't usually tape it because we don't see nothing or we don't hear nothing or nothing ever happens. But it's
But
been real
sometimes
quiet
that's
for the
what you
last.
do.
When something's going on, I start a camera. Or if we're around where the weird shit happens, I'll start a camera. But most of them I just delete because it's just boring. Nothing going on, not even interesting. But if something
But
does happen,
sometimes
I'll
that's
put the
what
video up.
happens.
If
You know
something
what I
does
mean?
happen,
Sometimes,
I'll put the videos up.
yeah. But again, sometimes that's when the sightings happen when you're not even looking for it. You're walking your dog. You're just out in the woods. You don't have your equipment on a regular research.
That works out good because 90% of the time I'm walking my dog because I have a channel. My dog has a channel called My Cool Dog. I start
Yeah,
a
you do.
camera and make videos for my stupid dog channel. So if something does happen, I happen to have a camera on, then I'll put it up on my channel. You'll see once in a while, you'll see me walking a dog on my channel. Or like the recent one I put up, I'm walking a dog down the street. I'm walking right beside where they used to be this Indian burial ground that they done bulldozed away, right? And they're redoing the whole area. And right when I'm walking by this place, 2 drones start buzzing over my head. And I'm like, what the heck? Drones are watching me. Then out of nowhere, this weird looking guy with a military shirt comes walking by and he's on the phone talking about me to somebody. It got real weird for a little while there. I got the whole thing on video. I put it up on the Daily Dan blog. But that was
I
supposed to
think
be
a
a
lot of
video for.
people.
I was gonna make that video for my dog's channel of me walking the dog down the street, but weird stuff happened, so I put it on the other channel. You know,
I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat talk about like synthetic skin or when they look like us. Let me ask you something. So we know that you're a believer in the paranormal. You believe that there is life outside this planet that has visited or crashed. And of course, you both and I, of course, Bigfoot without a question.
once again, let me point
But
out, I believe that something from another planet came here. I believe there was at least one or two crashes in history. I don't believe all the hype that goes with it. I don't think they come here every week. I don't
oh
think
yeah,
I don't think fifty
I
thousand people
agree.
are having anal probes every week.
I agree.
Except for your brother, I believe him.
But I agree, and that's why I was going to the next question. Then you start getting into more sci-fi. People believe that they walk among us. They look like us. They're in the governments. Do you believe the aliens are walking among us, looking like us?
Honestly, I give that a very high possibility as possible. I'm not going to say 100% I believe it, but actually, I was raised on TV shows like The Invaders and like the miniseries and it always featured these rubber skinned lizards that try to dress up and look like us and infiltrate us. And I guess it's just a residue of the subculture that idea's been put in your mind that so many people think that's real. But I still put it in a possibility that we've been, as a race, infiltrated, controlled, and manipulated by a higher power, an alien force that walks among us. I put that in a high possibility. And I think they're all Democrats.
Hey, I mean, hey, you never know, right? I mean, really,
If I
truly,
say that out
you
loud,
never
see, I
know.
go, that's the Tourette's. That's the Tourette's. This stuff just comes out.
But
Nice.
I mean,
The people that come just for that got a bonus.
But you're correct. I mean, we just don't know. You know, you got to keep your open mind because I mean, I guess you never know. Hopefully, one day somebody could go in front of you and pull off their skin. Like, see, you're right. I mean, that's what we want. But will that happen? Who knows? Who knows?
You remember that movie with Roddy Piper, They Live?
Oh, John.
And they're
That's a
sending
John
out
Carpenter movie. Dude,
these
you and I
waves.
grew up on John Carpenter.
Yeah, they have these waves that control your mind, and that makes you see what they want you to see. So you can't see what the way the world really is. Now that movie blew my mind as a big possibility.
Yeah, no, They Live is perfect. You know, you put on the glasses and you're seeing the sub messages that are there and all that. It's almost like real life.
Buy this book. I had to do a subliminal.
And actually, I'm getting to that, Dan. I'm actually getting to that, Dan. So anybody who knows you that you are on a lot of channels, you do listen to a lot of people. So with some of these channels, is there like channels you feel that talks more truth than others? Like that book is, of course, Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob, and all that. Are with all that stuff you learn, are there channels that you feel that they're more real that people should check out?
Not really. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I had to make a crack. There's quite a few really
Well,
good
because
channels
you
out
listen
there,
to stories.
but I love stories. I really do. Mostly if I like Bigfoot Michigan Rob a lot. You know, he's the one I call him my Bigfoot storyteller. Whenever I do live streams, I'll play him telling a story once in a while. But I listen to probably 500 channels that tell stories. I'll stick them on and let them play while I'm dozing off at night sometime.
Well, he was live today, and he said book 2 is coming out this year.
Yeah, no, I was
has
in
the
his,
second book almost ready.
I was doing something, but I was listening to the chat. I was listening to him talk. Had Jenna Jade on there today, and I love her. You know,
Yeah.
I've been watching Gemma Jade for a long time.
Oh, she's a good person. You know,
I love her. She
both and
always
I,
does cool stuff with her hair.
you and I are about the same. We, to me, I'm always like, before I like the channel, I gotta like the people. I gotta like the person who's running it. I gotta feel that they're being honest with us. And once I feel that they're being honest with us and all that, and then I'll go to their channels. And she
Well,
is going to be coming on my channel eventually. She is. We talked about it. I
it's
just got to email her sometimes, but she will be coming to my channel
see,
again.
the shows I like the best are the shows like the one that comes on tonight, Mowgli on Monster Mugs. I like a show where the host is just going to sit back and talk
Yeah,
and let the other person
yeah,
talk and not try to come at them real hard or be judgmental. Just let the guy tell their story and let the audience decide. He don't come at them harsh. I don't like people that come at people
yeah.
harsh.
His channel's
I
not
could
about a
name some
topic.
people.
His channel's not about a topic. His channel's about you coming on.
I can
Exactly.
name a couple of cocksuckers that come at people harsh, but I'm not.
No, you said it.
And I just don't like that harsh stuff.
Eh,
I think people that, whether their story's real,
yeah,
whether you believe it or not, that's irrelevant. Let the person tell what happened and let the viewers, let the chat, let everybody else decide what's going on. I just don't really think
yeah.
a host should come out just totally on their guest like that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen people not want to go back on shows
Yeah, I mean,
because the host harshed them. You know, I've actually
no,
seen.
I know what you're saying. I guess it also all depends on, not depends on, but I mean, if you're having somebody come on to tell a story, and there's no photos, there's no audio to listen to. I mean, yeah, you got to let the guy tell a story, and then the people make the choice, and you can't call somebody a liar or not because you don't know. Now, if somebody comes on that has a picture and audio, yeah, you didn't. I feel you're allowed as a host to make your professional guess on if you think something's real or not. But stories are stories. It's you can't prove it
That's why
you
I
know what I
hate
mean?
telling old stories from 50 years ago where I have no proof, no evidence, and it's just a freaking story. Now, if I tell the story right now about how I'm on a dogman investigation one day and I saw this big, gigantic, hairy canine beast that looked like the thing from American Werewolf in London running through the woods, at least I can go. If you go to Palmetto Dogman on the Danny Staton channel, there's a video. You can see that fucker running. If I tell you the story about this time I was making a video about a mill they were tearing down, and somebody texted me and said, "Hey, there's a gargoyle in your video running across the roof." You can actually go to YouTube and look that video up and see the gargoyle run across the roof.
Yeah.
You don't have to take my word for it because I have video on a lot of stuff. Hey, that night I was out here in the backyard with a flashlight. And I'm going around and I'm like, what the hell did I just hear? And the light hits this giant hairy thing that takes off through the woods. Guess what? That's on video too, and you can see that. There's just lots of stuff that I like. If I talk about something, I like to be able to say, well, you don't have to believe me. You can go check that video out because I just happened to have a camera running when it happened. Like the time I was out in my backyard, and it was this horrible storm. And right after the storm, I started hearing something. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I really honestly thought it was an animal. I thought, oh, this is going to be good. So I started a camera and started approaching the woods. And as I got close, something barred out of the woods and was standing there in front of me about 50 yards away. And to this day, I saw large, shiny freaking teeth and a head that looked like a freaking T-Rex or something moving around. And I'd call it a freaking demon. I don't know what it was. And it was standing there glowing and growling. And guess what? The whole damn thing's on video. Go check it out and tell me what it is. If you're going to talk
that's
about
why.
something, have some video to back it up. Don't talk about it. Well, I got Bigfoot coming over to my house. I give him gifts. He comes out, him and his family come over 15 times a week. Hell, my daughter's butt fucking one of them. No, show me a video, show me a picture, show me some evidence before you say something like that to me. I'm sorry. I have trouble with that. Sorry if I'm.
No, I hear you.
I hate that stuff when people are buddy with Bigfoot and got the whole freaking family living down the street and exchanging ideas with them and giving them gifts every week and they give you gifts back and all this good stuff. But you have no video, You have no pictures. Heck, you ain't even got audio. You ain't even got a picture of you in the freaking woods. But you're going to talk all that crap on YouTube? Hey, suck it. I'm sorry.
No, I know what you're saying. No, I know what you're saying, because if it's true that you're giving gifts back and forth,
Hey,
you're
I left a
gonna
jar of
have a
peanut
camera.
butter. Hey,
You're you're gonna
I did
have a
that
camera
experiment.
somewhere.
I did that experiment. I put a jar of peanut butter in the woods. And when I went back, I found the top, but I never did find the jar, and it was just gone.
Are you
And to
serious?
this day, I don't know what took it. I can't sit here and say Bigfoot stole my peanut butter, but something that can open a damn jar of peanut butter, come up and I could have been a homeless guy with 2 fingers for all I know. Found a jar of peanut butter, opened it up, and walked down through the woods eating it, but something took it.
See, people in the chat, don't think it's crazy when I've heard that some demon investigators have a jar of peanut butter with them, because who knows? That's awesome. That's awesome. That's
And
awesome.
I know that Bigfoot had a toothache if you ate that peanut butter because it was crunchy, had the little hard chunks in it.
But going back when you're saying, like, people who say they give gifts and stuff. Listen, if you are giving gifts to,
I'm not knocking that, and I'm not saying it's not true.
no,
I've seen
I know
videos.
you're not saying that's not
I've
true,
actually seen videos where
but
people leave stuff and go back to the gifting rock the next day, and something's laying in the spot, and them are cool. At least they got video to show that.
See, that's the thing. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you know something is happening, you're going to have a camera recording it 24 hours. You will. If you think something is exchanging
If you've got
something,
that ability,
there's no way you're not going to have a camera
ability.
or device.
A lot of people hadn't got the trail cam. I want one very bad. I wished I had one of them where I could set up a 24-hour surveillance camera. The best I've been able to do is leave a camera running till the battery dies on it, and then go back and look at the video. And last time I did that, it rained on the camera and murdered it. So I hadn't been doing that no more.
What is he saying here? When we went back, I had stole the peanut butter and put in my ice cream. Are you talking to somebody else? Ice cream and peanut butter and all that. So,
hey, that's actually really good.
Since you're already open-minded and you are a believer, is there something that you are really truly looking forward to put a stamp on everything? Like, is there one main thing you wish that does happen for you? Like, I don't know, a ship comes and it takes you away. I mean, is there something you want to do, like, you wish could happen? Talk to Bigfoot, maybe talk to a ghost. I don't know. What is the one main thing you want to happen?
I was going to make a smart ass remark about I want to go hunt for the bear winch, but I think the one thing I really want to happen is a nice long vacation in California.
See, I tell myself I shouldn't want to, but I tell myself that I do want to go into a ship.
Some people in the chat will get that joke.
I was here. I talk to a spirit. See, for some people, they want to talk to a spirit, so it is different, for that one thing,
I haven't been to California since the 80s, and I really would like to ride the Pacific Coast Highway one more time in my life and go up to where they got the Bigfoot shops and stuff and see the giant sequoias one more time, the giant redwood trees.
Beautiful things is jump on Highway 101 and just drive that coastline. It's beautiful.
And I did that. I did that. I jumped on the Pacific Coast Highway and drove it all the way up to Seattle, Washington from Los Angeles back in 80 something.
I haven't
we stopped at that place where the Eagles made that video with the Hotel California thing. We stopped there and made pictures.
I haven't told my brother yet. You might be the first to hear this, that I am planning to go to California in Fresno in September. I am planning to make a trip down there. Part of the trip is to go to our all famous Harvest Festival group as kids. And second is go back to the area where we had our Bigfoot sighting. Not necessarily hoping we can recapture the moment, because most likely you're not, but yeah, I don't know, put the area, put it on camera for
Yeah,
memories. You know what I mean?
and walk the area where it happened. Tell the story on camera. Walk through the woods where y'all chased it, talking about it, and do like not just one video. Do like a 5 video series, 30 minutes each
Yes,
on the own.
kind of
Because that's a big
exactly,
event.
kind of like
Document it for
exactly
future
like relive it.
posterity. And who knows what might
Yeah,
happen being
relive
in
it.
the same spot again.
You know,
I
because
did that with
I'm
my.
doing a lot of
I did that. I went back to where that stuff happened to me as a kid and made a video and talked about it, even though it
oh
looks
yeah,
dramatically different now.
because
But
like I'm putting a video.
take note that a few years ago, way 40 years later, I went back to that same area and people had reported seeing something down there, and it was near the area where I'd saw something. And I went back and made another video or two. And as I was making videos, I actually had another encounter down there with something, but it was the most weirdest thing I ever saw. It looked like a Chewbacca walking through the woods. It didn't look nothing like what I saw the first time. I would actually consider they might be two different creatures. They look so different. It was like if this one was the same thing, it was like the Hungry Age version of Bigfoot, the starving Bigfoot, starving Marvin Bigfoot, you know, because it really looked skinny and hairy and hungry and pitiful.
You haven't been doing any live shows lately, have you?
No, I have not. My mom passed away, and right after that, I got a big old copyright strike for trying to show the Night Stalker movie, and it kind of discouraged me from doing live streams. And I hadn't really been in the mood. Like I said, my mom passed away, and I've been dealing with grief you wouldn't believe. My son's fiance passed away, and him and his kids have been. It's a long story, but I've been under a lot of personal stress lately.
Oh,
I hadn't really had the ability to do live streams mentally.
you know, trust me.
I'm doing a video. I'm doing good to get a
You
video
know,
up
one
on
of
the
the main
channel
reasons
right
why I
now.
haven't done. Well, again, like I haven't done a live show in over a week because we had a death in the family. So you know,
I've had,
it's life. You know, like tomorrow.
unfortunately, in the last 4 months, I've had 5 deaths in the family. So
Oh,
it's
God.
been like that. It's been a rough few. Everybody's getting older and they're all passing away now.
That's the part about getting older. I mean, that is
The,
the
the
part
older
about
our
getting
older
older.
generation has reached the age where all the aunts and uncles and they're in their 80s and their 90s and
Yeah.
hundreds, and now they're all beginning to drop off. My mom, my dad, all their brothers and sisters, except for a couple have passed, and you know. And now the
See what was hard. What happened? What was hard here? You know, was my wife's younger sister. You know, you're right. You know, she was in her
it's
40s.
really
So
hard when it's the younger
I
people passing.
yes, yes.
My
That's
son's
what
my son's
we've been going
fiance
through.
was only like 27, and she died in a car wreck. And then they got 3 little kids together, and it's pretty sad for him. You know, I
Yeah.
didn't like the bitch, but you know,
Like for me, like tomorrow, I'm not doing a live show because tomorrow I got a different kind of horror. What's happening and what that horror is, people is I'm taking my daughter to get her hair done because she's going to the prom tomorrow night. So that's a different horror that I'm experiencing. But I got to take her to get her hair done where I usually do a show at this time. So there ain't gonna be one tomorrow. But of course, going back to Monday, it'll be back to normal. But
are you
if
going to be
anybody
doing this
cares
time
in the
slot?
chat, if any of you care,
Are you going to be doing this time slot from now on? It's afternoon here. You're doing like 5 o'clock in the
no,
afternoon.
not for now on. It's
It's
the reason
it,
the main reason. Well, the main reason, Danny, I've been doing it at 2 o'clock because I like doing mornings. I love 9 o'clock in the morning. I really do.
yeah, because
But
that's when you do
at nine
9, it
o'clock,
works out to noon Eastern, and it seems like you had a lot more people watching back then.
yes, yes. And the main reason I'm not doing it at 9 a.m. because at that time my son, I'm taking him to college. So every day at 9 a.m., that's why you guys see me doing walks because my son's in college for over an hour. So when I drop him off, I go to a park and film. I go back and pick him up, and then his classes is going to be over in 3 weeks. So and it'd be summertime. So when summertime comes, I'm going back to 9 a.m. I like mornings. I love mornings. I like doing it. But guys, in about, let me see here. Why can't I pull it up? In about 3:15, my other channel, I am dropping a video at 3:15. So that's in 20 minutes. Where today's on my other channel is about another underrated album. So sometimes on this channel I do underrated albums, and I'm doing one.
Flashback.
Well, what was, to me, this one's interesting because it is a soundtrack, but is also a full album from one band. So it's almost like a full album, but Fastway, but it's based off a movie, kind of like when John Bon Jovi did it for Young Guns too.
Dude, you're talking to the choir. I had that soundtrack on LP, played it religiously. Actually, when I got my car, I actually went and bought that on cassette so I could jam it when I was riding. I'm gonna get you after midnight, right?
Exactly, and I talk about that in the video, but I'll tell people, watch it at 3:15. But so beyond that, man, Danny, like I said, you're right. Any name change that I do, I didn't even realize that you always are the first guest. Wow,
that's weird.
That's cool. That is cool, but beyond that, we're gonna wind down here for a second. But are you going to be uploading anything soon, or you're just like whatever you have, you just?
I've done pretty much everything I'm gonna upload today. I want to tell everybody to be sure to check out.
But are you having it to upload soon?
Yeah, well, if everybody be sure to check out the new stuff I've been putting up on Project Cryptid, which is my newest channel, which I'm trying to collect all the best videos of cryptids from around the world and put them on one channel for easy reference for people. I got a really enhanced, really good version of the original Freeman footage put up today, and some really good stuff that people probably hadn't seen over the last couple of weeks. Go back and check that out. And on the Daily Dan blog, I'm gonna put up pretty much a clone of the stuff that I'm putting up on Project Cryptid this week. And I'm hoping something actually happens I can catch on video.
That's
but there hadn't been much going on. The last 2 weeks have been pretty quiet.
Hey,
sadly.
You
can't hold a gun to Bigfoot's head. Anything weird's going to happen when it happens. You can't summon it up or make it happen.
No,
you just got to be patient and wait for something to happen.
It is. Everything is patience. Everything. Paranormal, ghosts, spirits, UFOs, aliens, Bigfoots. It's all patience, because you never know when that experience is going to happen.
They was 2 months. They were 2 months that around here, they were these incredibly giant birds all over the place. I was getting giant bird videos every day. And then they just went away, and I hadn't seen a giant bird in a month.
Yep. But the best thing is, us getting older, we're more prepared if something happens now. When you're a kid and stuff, you're not prepared. You're not. You don't know what to look for certain things when things happen to you young. Now you're older. If something happens, now you know, okay, I'm here. I'm going to investigate. I'm going to look around the surroundings. Where you're young, you never did that. But when you're older, you learn to, if something does happen, you're going to research it right there on the spot. Unless something's chasing you, like they chased Dan. I better get the hell out of here before they eat me. Unless you do that. But beyond that, I want to buddy for showing up. I want to thank Danny for being here. And Danny comes on the show here and there, but today I wanted it to be about Danny. So today was like interview day. And Danny, you love, the thing is about you is, somebody wrote in the chat, the thing is about Danny is he's passionate. And that to me is what makes a good person, a research and investigator, is when they're passionate about the truth. And you are very passionate about the truth. That's what makes you special.
And it's all about the truth. And it also puts me into a class with a bunch of people that a lot of people on YouTube don't like. And I'm not going to say no names, but everybody knows I'm a member of the criticize the shit out of everything club, and it's because they're right. That when they come out and say the stuff they say about evidence and proof and having to nut up with some evidence and not just say crap. They are right, and that's why I'm part of that club, because you gotta be honest, and it's hard to find honesty these days. You know,
That's
so
true. Well, beyond
I
that,
get a
people,
lot of crap
I
from
used
my
to
friends.
say, beyond that, I used to say, I'll see you all next time on the Paranormal Highway. So today I'll say, I'll see you
Hey,
all next time.
Hey, whoa! How about Eric Wood's Paranormal Highway podcast?
Yeah, yeah. No, I see that. I could put that like in the banner
You
and
have
all that.
both. Yeah, you can have both. Why do you got to choose
Nothing
one when
wrong
you
with
can
it.
have it all?
I want it
I
all,
want it
people. I
all,
want it
baby.
all. But beyond that, we're gonna take off here, and hopefully I'll see some of you guys in the chat for the fast in 15 minutes. So beyond that, we'll see you guys all next time on the Eric Wood Paranormal Highway podcast.
Happy